Welcome back to the Cool Comic Show. This is definitely not my second time doing this intro because I had muted myself on the first recording. But we are back with another of our monthly episodes. Like we mentioned last month, we're going to try to do these at least monthly for you guys. Today it is me and your boy Jelani Carter, aka Jelani Hendricks. He had to be out for this week, but I have a couple of notes that he wants to go over while we're here. We have the main thing we're going to talk about today is Zatanna. You can see the swag, you can see the drip. Zatanna Bring Down the House came out last week. We have a couple of other things, kind of just overall comic book news that came out. However, with it being July, a lot of times a bunch of big news normally doesn't get announced because it's leading into Comic-Con at the end of this month. And speaking of Comic-Con, for those of you who were here a couple years ago, you will remember we did a stream during Comic-Con. I think it was 2 years ago. We have a fun announcement that we're going to do it again this year. Marvel Studios announced are going to be back at Hall H this year in San Diego Comic-Con. DC Comics, don't ask me. Who knows what they're doing at Comic-Con? But yeah, Marvel will be back at Hall H. And I believe they're going to do it on that Saturday, July 27th. As that date gets closer, be on the lookout for our social medias. We're going to be doing a stream on our Andromeda Arcade team channel on Twitch, which is something that all three of us are a part of that team. Be on the lookout for that. And then also this month, the Marvel Rivals beta will be coming back.
So excited. July
20th. So be on the lookout for a stream of that as well. So probably back-to-back weekends, streams on the team channel. CCS boys are taking over. So I'm very excited for that. But anyways, today, like I said, the super special Bombucha Zatanna edition of our show. If you missed it, Zatanna Bring Down the House #1 came out last week. We got both of our covers here that me and Jelani got. So this red one is the main cover. And then my variant that I got, this was the variant by Alvaro Martinez Bueno. And then Jelani, if you want to show off the variant that you got.
Yep. As you can see, it's like a nice little shiny cover. You know what I mean? Shiny back. It's by Artgerm. Artist named Artgerm. Stanley Artgerm Lau. And I'm super excited about this story. It's so good. So good.
So DC announces as a limited 5-issue run. I'm going to say right now, please make it a 5-year run. As we've talked about it before on the channel, we're all very much big fans of Zatanna. Probably very close second favorite character next to Wonder Woman for me.
Yeah, I'll say it's close. And like Static is my top character, especially out of DC. You know what I mean? But Z's up there. Z's definitely up there.
And I want to talk a little bit about our thoughts about the book. I have a couple notes here. Actually, before me and Jelani talk about our thoughts, E did provide some of his thoughts here. E said, "I'm very excited for this story and the direction it's headed. The dark tone of the series was set almost instantly, so I'm excited to dig further into that and also see how she comes around to embrace her powers and the strength we are familiar with. The artwork was fantastic and had a lot of little subtleties that made the story more impactful as you turned each page." I 100% agree with E. As someone who has read a lot of Zatanna over the years, especially Justice League Dark and like her Paul Dini run and everything like that. The thing I loved about this book and the thing I love about Zatanna in general is a lot of her stories are a fun combination of like horror and mystery, a little bit of thriller. There's some comedy in there. And I think this book, like E mentioned from the beginning, kind of like it set the tone like, hey, there's going to be some dark, spooky shit going on in the background. But it's also against the backdrop of Las Vegas and Zatanna trying to make a career out there. We are talking spoilers, obviously. If you haven't read it, press pause right now, go to your local comic book shop or buy it online. Read it. It takes like 10-15 minutes. Jelani would know.
Read it right before we hit record. So it's not a long read.
But overall, just a very brief overview of what happens. It starts like, the thing I liked about it in the beginning, it shows her as a kid and like kind of doing fun tricks for her friends and everything like that, like, ball under the cup. And then like, one of her classmates making fun of her. And then she goes to her dad about like, wanting to do magic. And you kind of get this feeling, not only in the beginning, but throughout this whole first issue, that Z's kind of scared of magic a little bit, at least her power, because she knows.
Yeah.
You don't see it until the end, but she has this like valid fear of why she doesn't want to use magic. But jumping ahead a little bit, so she's performing in Vegas and she notices this character who keeps showing up to all of her shows. They're free shows, like I think it's something like a buffet or something like that. But as a
Yeah,
character,
she said that you get a free ticket to a water park every single time you go to the show. So,
yeah.
you know.
But there's this character here. I'll show you the page right here, actually. There's this character. It's like a younger woman, but keeps showing up to Zatanna shows and dressed in something different each time. And eventually Z confronts this person and is like, hey, what's your problem? Why do you keep showing up? By the way, like Jelani and I already mentioned, the art in this is so sick. Look at this spread.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Shout out to Javier Rodriguez. He's done a few stuff that I've read. Most notably, he did a run for She-Hulk a couple years back, which I highly enjoyed and highly recommend. So the artwork for this story is fantastic. It's very unique. I feel like it's like he's very good at conveying like emotional beats and everything through his art. So it's dope. I love it.
Yeah, and then I agree 100%. And it gets to this page where Zatanna's like, hey, like, you know, I need a helper from the crowd, whatever. And she goes up to this girl and she goes, hello. She goes, stranger, what's your name? And the person says, that's it. So for anyone unfamiliar, this is the Phantom Stranger. And the interesting part about this is Phantom Stranger is usually in universe. He's like a character that's been around since like biblical times, essentially. At one point, post New 52, Judas, yes, that Judas from the Bible is the Phantom Stranger. He's like a mystical dude. He's kind of just like around, and he shows up a lot in like these magic characters based stories. He has a great episode in Batman the Brave and the Bold with him and the Spectre, and they kind of have like a watcher like from the MCU, like What If and stuff like that, and X-Men now.
I was just about to ask, is the Phantom Stranger kind of like a similar character?
Kind of, but in the sense that he's more involved. He like the Watcher is more like passive and background, where the Stranger he'll like in this book he'll kind of pull up and, you know, talk to the characters and that kind of stuff. But the interesting thing about this character in this book, I'm curious if this is the same Phantom Stranger and like it's just a soul in a different body, or if this girl, this young woman, if she is now the Phantom Stranger. Like that's what I'm very curious about. Okay. But
I was not familiar with that character, so I'm excited. I'm even more excited.
Well, that's the thing with even like him, like in the real world, like there's not really a lot that's known about him in terms of like secret identity and like he had different origins over the years. Like I said, he was Judas at one point. He was like, I think Isaac or Israel, something like that from biblical like era. Like he's an old character, kind of just around. Yeah. And then the book ends. Again, we're jumping around a lot. This like again.
By the way, love how it ends.
Yeah, but like right here, in after she's talking to the stranger, this weird like creepy being comes out from like the rafters, like the curtains, whatever, and is like freaking everyone out. Stranger is like, hey, I need you to like do your magic, like use your shit. And then cut to the end, and you see why Zatanna was scared of magic. Again, spoilers. It cuts back to when she was a kid, and that kid who was making fun of her, she made him disappear.
And it seems like it was permanently.
Yes.
So, yikes.
Also, it also ends with
fully expecting that.
Yeah, it also ends with Stranger saying like, I know what you did to your father, like you killed him.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a brief overview of this. Obviously, there's a lot of fun, intricate things in between it. You should definitely go pick up your own copy and read it. Support the book.
1000%.
Show DC, hey, we need more Zatanna books. Like, please, more Zatanna everywhere. But yeah, like I said, I loved it. It's everything that like you would expect from a Zatanna story in terms of the mixture of different feelings, but it also has this new sense of mystery. It's like, okay, what's the stranger doing here? What was this version of Zatanna's childhood growing up after she basically killed this kid, you know? And it seems like her daughter, or not her daughter, her dad. So I'm excited. But yeah, Jelani, thoughts?
Man, I mean, hearing you talk about it, I'm kind of working my thoughts on it, like as we're kind of talking on it, and I'm realizing that one of the main reasons why I'm so excited for this book is because, at least for me, it felt like it's been a minute since we got like a straight up solo Zatanna story. A lot of times she's either paired with like Batman or Justice League Dark or just Constantine by himself. So she's always kind of just like a part of something. She's someone's partner for something. And also, now that we're talking this through, I'm realizing that usually the iterations of her that we're shown, she's someone that's excited about magic and using her magic and,
exactly.
and talking about it and using her powers in order to help. She always wants to prove to people that she's good at what she does, even though she can be sometimes like clumsy or whatever. She's still one of the nicest magic users, one of the most powerful magic users in the DC universe. So to have this version of her that is reluctant to use her magic and to use magic in general, to the point where, and they say this in one of the panels, she doesn't even, during her act, she doesn't even use the word magic once. She says tricks or deceptions or illusions or any other buzzword that kind of alludes to the fact that she's doing something magical. But she's like, no, I'm just a person with a pointy hat and parlor tricks, you know what I mean? Or top hat and parlor tricks. So to have this version of this character that we're so familiar with be kind of scared of her own power is a very interesting twist for her story. And I think that's just reason enough to dive in it. You know what I mean? I feel like this is a side of Zatanna that a lot of fans have not really seen before, or probably have not seen in a while. And Damien can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm all aboard. I'm all on board. Yeah. Absolutely.
No, I agree 100%. I'm glad you pointed that out. Like I wasn't even thinking about that. Like, yeah, she's usually like super comfortable, like, you know, like, yeah, just one of the most powerful characters in general in the DC universe.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, you see someone like you would see someone like Constantine being like, oh man, I got to use magic again. You know what I mean? Kind of wants to be like left alone or whatever. You know what I mean? But like Zatanna's always down to help and be helpful. So, you know,
like as you're talking, I'm flipping through this book again. Like, God, look at this art. It's so good.
That full like spread towards the middle of it when she like first starts doing her
when she comes out like at the stage,
was incredible. I mean, she just looks so good. She looks so good.
It's amazing. I'm glad that she has this book. I'm glad. It sucks that it's only gonna be 5 issues, but who knows if it does well enough, we kind of get more. But
and also I feel like Javier's artwork lends itself very well to horror, so I hope they lean more into that too. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I mean, I know we keep on talking about the art, but the story is really good too. Like how everything is presented and how it's written. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm excited. I highly recommend it.
I like at the beginning, like touching on what E had mentioned. There was some subtleties at the beginning. I was flipping through. There's like that part where like she wakes up in Vegas, you know, goes for a run, and there's like the shadow, like the second shadow on the ground, you know, like running next to her, and like, or when she's getting valet parking and like there's like a shadow against the wall where she's at. Just like little things here and there. It's like, yeah, it's so good. Also, while I was reading this again, this is me being greedy, and I know how DC likes to not give me what I want. I would hope that it'd be very cool. One, because I want to see her drawn in this art, but two, because it fits. If Diana shows up at any point in this book, Diana and Zatanna had a obviously long history in Justice League Dark. People forget how in touch with magic Wonder Woman is. So I'm just greedy because I want to see her in this art style and pull up like that.
That would be great. I know she would look awesome in this art style for sure.
So sick. So yeah, that's Zatanna. Bring Down the House again. Please go buy it. Please go support. Tell your friends about it. Tell your mom.
I mean, and look how awesome these covers are. Like, are you kidding? Like, why wouldn't you want to own this?
Even the main cover.
Dame's variant, you know what I mean? My variant, the main covers, you know what I mean? I think even E picked up a different variant than us two. Like, come on now.
Dude,
like,
if I could, the variant that I picked up, if I can get this as an actual poster, like where her shadow's like against like the posters, and even get like a little bit of her old classic costume in there. Like, I love when shit like that does it. So I think even if you're not familiar with Zatanna like at all, like if you're not super expert on her, you can still enjoy this. Like one of our friends has picked it up and she said she enjoyed it. So like it's
exactly.
I think everyone should buy it, mainly because I want more Zatanna books. So that's Zatanna. Bring Down the House. Please go support. Please go vibe. I could sit here all day and talk about this book, but I want to of course read the other issues, because who knows? Maybe issue 2 comes out and it's the worst thing in the world. So
I highly doubt it.
But yeah, make sure you check out that book. So, as we mentioned at the beginning, we have a couple of things to go over. Nothing too crazy that got announced. As I mentioned, there was, leading into Comic-Con, the big announcements kind of start slowing down because of Comic-Con coming up. But there were some notable things. The first thing that I have listed here is we got our release date for the first new project in this new DC universe. Creature Commandos is coming out in December. I don't know if there was an actual date, but they said December.
Okay. Of this year.
HBO Max or whatever the fuck they're calling it.
Who knows what David Zaslav is going to change it to at some point?
True.
But yeah, hey man, I'll let them do their thing.
Are you excited for Creature Commandos?
I am because I am not super familiar at all with Creature Commandos.
Don't worry,
but I do
nobody is.
which is perfect. You know what I mean? I am excited because I mean James Gunn has a track record of making characters that aren't well known be well beloved. You know what I mean? So I mean, like the Guardians of the Galaxy. So I definitely trust him. I think this is going to be really, really cool. I mean, I'm down to do my homework on these characters. And Dave, if you have any recommendations, let me know.
Honestly, I don't know anything about these characters. Like they're definitely Guardians level when they first got announced.
Okay, so then all three of us got homework then. Yeah. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Like the announcement is exciting. I like the fact that the first big thing that we're getting from this new James Gunn era of DC is not one of the big three or any of like the Justice League members. I'm glad that we got some like lesser known characters because I feel like the best way to build out a universe is through I don't want to say the street level because I'm not really sure what type of threats that they deal with, but like the lesser known characters that kind of build out that world, and then you get the big dogs. You know what I mean? We'll get into it later, but there's been a few set pictures from a certain cape.
Alien
we'll
Man.
get to it. We'll get to it when we get to it. But that were revealed over the past few weeks, and of course we're all excited. Like, bro looks good, and the character that's standing next to him also looks really good, which I'm super duper excited to see on the big screen. But I don't think that's how you. I don't think that's how you start this new era off. I feel like that's how everybody wants to start their era off. We'll give them Bruce, we'll give them Clark, we'll give them Diana, which is great because we all love those three dudes. But let's switch it up. Let's do something different. And I think this is like the perfect way to do something different and bring people in and introduce some really new, interesting characters that probably deserve more shine.
I am excited for this for one reason. And
What's
again,
up?
this is the greedy side of me coming out. There's a character coming out in this show named Cersei, who is arguably Wonder Woman's top 2, top 3 between her, Cheetah, and Ares. I'd probably argue top 1, honestly.
Okay.
And James Gunn has talked about how the people who are voicing these characters are going to play them in live action. And the girl who got cast for Cersei is she. I don't know if anybody watched The Witcher. I only watched a couple episodes of the live action, but she played Yennefer, I think.
Nice.
Funny enough, a lot of people for years had fan casted her for Zatanna.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, she is cast as Cersei in here, and again, Cersei is a Wonder Woman villain, so that's why I'm excited for it. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
Closer and closer.
That's true. Like I see what you're saying. I'm just, even if it's the first thing or whatever it is, whatever the first thing coming up, like you're saying, I want it to come closer because I want to be able to start this new era of DC. I want to see what direction we're gonna go in, what characters we're gonna focus on, and kind of go from there. But again, that's me being greedy. I just want to see Cersei in there. But Creature Commandos in December. We'll see how it goes. If it's going to be 4 episodes and then take a break like Invincible and then come back 6 months later with 4 more episodes.
Yeah.
Jumping over to Marvel, some unfortunate news.
Man.
Blade
Justice for my baby boy. Oh
has
my gosh.
lost its director. Let me actually pull up the name. But speaking of Comic-Con streams, they announced Blade at Comic-Con, 2019?
Yeah, I think so.
And here we are 5 years later. It's gone through a couple different writers. It just lost its director the last couple of weeks. So
I'm gonna say something to you that I also talked about with my roommates and my other friends that are huge comic book and MCU DC nerds, right? How the heck do you have someone as talented and on a crazy run as Mahershala Ali and fumble a movie so gosh darn hard? It's just vampires, dude. It's just that's all you need to do in that first movie. Vampires, have them slay the vampires. What are we doing, bro?
Let me tell you, as someone who has been a fan of DC movies and TV shows the last 10, 15 years,
you're right.
I can see it didn't surprise me. It sucks. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but Marvel definitely go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was about to say, and also granted, in between the announcement back in 2019 and now in 2024,
there's a pandemic.
There has been pandemic. There's been strikes. There's been a whole bunch of different stuff that's gone on. So I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. The road to getting this actually made has been rocky. It's not just on a business standpoint, but just on a outside influence that's happening standpoint. But at the same time, I'm just like, bro.
To what you're saying, like Blade as a character, like that, because the point I was going to make is in the middle of all that as well with the pandemic and strikes, Marvel realized they were kind of getting a little bloated and started slowing down a lot of things. However, Blade should not be a character that you slow down on. Like that should have been one of the flagships moving forward. So, and I just looked this up. This is actually the second director to leave the project. Their name was Yan Demange. So yeah, I don't know who. Maybe we'll get some information at Comic-Con. Now that Marvel announced they're going back to Comic-Con this year, I am very curious what they're going to show. There's already people speculating it'll be mostly Fantastic Four kind of focus because
which is exciting.
Yeah,
I'm hyped.
But it's like
I also heard that's going to be a period piece and not like set in our
60s.
Current. Yeah, which is also fine.
Yeah.
I mean, that is Marvel's first family, established that as the first. You know what I mean? Like, I know Cap came out in the 40s, you know what I mean? But it was then frozen and came back in the late 2010s. But, we got to... I'm down for a period piece.
Yeah.
I'm down for a period piece.
So, yeah, I expect Fantastic Four. I hope for X-Men anything at Comic-Con.
Dog.
Anything.
I mean... X-Men 97 was fantastic, so maybe they'll be like, oh, maybe people love X-Men. You know what I mean? So yeah, like I said, not much else to talk about that. Just Blade lost his director. Maybe we'll get an update at Comic-Con. Maybe not. Who knows? It kind of sucks because it's... I hope we do, man. I do love that character a lot.
A great actor, great character. It's just...
Bro.
Like you said, how do you fuck it up? How?
It's Mahershala Ali, bro.
Exactly.
His track record should... speak for itself. He's so talented. You don't fumble an actor as good as he is. So because that's okay. Before we hop off, that's my biggest fear. All this BS is happening, and then he's like, you know what? I'm a dip.
Yeah,
because
it's been 5 years. At this point,
that's what I'm gonna say. No, that's not, and not everybody's like The Rock, where they want to be attached to a character for 10 years.
Oh, that worked out.
Yeah, but also comparing acting skills between Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Mahershala Ali. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? We're not going to do that. But, you're not going to have luck when you find a person who's as gung-ho about a character as The Rock was. He was, like I said, he was willing to stick with that and really fight for it for 10 years and finally get the movie made. You know what I mean? So, not everybody's built like him. So I just don't want Mahershala to just be like, all right, all this stuff is happening, and you guys, it seems like you guys don't give a fuck. I'm about to bounce, and then then you got to find a new actor, which could be an even longer process, and then you're really starting at square one. So that's my big fear.
I'm just saying, if he leaves, you're a pretty good Jon Stewart. That's just me. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't be mad at it. I would not be. You bring up a good. So maybe.
But I think I think him as Blade should be the priority, like 100%. That's it. And you're right. It would suck for him to leave, and it's leading towards that at this point. So who knows?
I hope it's not. I hope it doesn't happen. I hope they get it together. But at this point, if I was Mahershala, I would have been like, so what's good? What are we doing here? You know what I mean?
If we don't get any news about Blade at all at Comic-Con, it'll be looking rough. But
it's looking grim. It's looking grim.
Even like a new director. If they announce a new director, okay, that's something, But if not, but yeah, jumping back to DC. So Jelani kind of teased it earlier. 2 points Superman related. So first, the last couple weeks, My Adventures with Superman season 2 has came out. And
been cooking. If you guys have not been watching week to week, what are we doing?
Amazing.
What are we doing?
We haven't watched the most recent episode as of this recording, July 3rd, so we didn't watch this past weekend, but spoilers, we watched all the way up until Kara comes to Earth and then kidnaps Superman and then meets Jimmy, that whole thing. Yeah, I mean, I don't know much to say about it. It's great. Please watch it. It's
please
going into the second point. Like, it's Superman, similar to Cyclops, is kind of getting a little bit of a renaissance, kind of in a way. But yeah, it's good. I love it.
Same.
The second Superman thing. So I won't put it on screen in case people don't want to be spoiled. But for the Superman movie coming out next year, there have been set photos that have been coming out.
Do you remember the actor's name who they casted as Superman?
David Cornsweet.
Okay, so David, you're looking good, brother.
Yeah.
You're looking good.
So
I'm excited.
In case people don't want to be spoiled, what they look like who's in the movie aside from Superman characters. We'll just say that the characters look great. Today, as of this recording,
I was gonna say a pun, but I think that would be too revealing.
Yeah.
So
today, as of this recording today, there was more set leaks released or showing more characters today. Some people were happy.
Outside of the one that I'm thinking of?
There was two characters, two new characters.
Oh,
shown.
okay. I haven't seen those. All right, cool. Interesting.
But as a person, like, I don't go looking for this kind of stuff. It kind of just shows up on my feed. And it sucks that, like, I do wish I can go to a lot more movies without knowing a lot of stuff. So I try not to look in too much into it, but sometimes, like, I'll look at a first look of a character and that's kind of it. Like, I won't go into more of that.
Yeah, same. Yeah. Or even, like, if I'm super duper excited, I usually, like, watch the first trailer just so I can get an idea of what we're gonna get.
Yeah.
Any trailer coming out after that, then I just won't watch and I'll just wait until the movie comes out. Sometimes they kind of spoil stuff.
I've stopped watching past this first trailer, like the first teaser, really.
Yeah, same.
Which
especially for DC movie, not just DC, but comic book related movies in general. I'm just like, sometimes they just reveal a little too much, and that puts a damper on things.
Yeah. And speaking of Comic-Con, again, I mentioned this at the beginning. It hasn't been confirmed if DC's gonna go. I think. I don't know if James Gunn himself actually said it or a report, whatever. But I think if he did say it, he said he doesn't plan to go to Comic-Con. Here's my thinking, right? Superman comes out next year, July 11th. That's going to be 2 weeks before next year's Comic-Con. Essentially, this is the only Comic-Con between now and then. Not that he has to show anything. Like, he can do whatever he wants. But it's like, this would be the time to show a teaser, especially since they've been filming for a couple of months. But who knows? That'd be sick if they just show up on the Warner Brothers panel and just kind of surprise everybody. But I can also see him being like, no, I'm not going to, I'll just wait for the trailer and then just, because what I expect to happen, and we can talk about this more during our Comic-Con stream, what I expect to happen is whether he goes to this year's Comic-Con or not, I think next year's Comic-Con, after Superman comes out, will be like, okay, guys, here's the rest of our plan here's the rest of these movies. Like, I think that's going to be the next big update is next year's Comic-Con, not this year.
Oh, you don't think they're going to bring back, a DC fan experience again?
Listen, don't get me wrong. During the pandemic, that was fun. The fandom, catch me in the dome.
Yeah, DC fandom. Yeah, I thought that was great. I wouldn't
Shout
out to Tiffany Smith. Love her.
I wouldn't be surprised if we get nothing at Comic-Con this year from DC. So
yeah. I mean, honestly, hearing you say that, I don't know which play would be the best. I mean, I think both would be interesting and both would build hype. You know what I mean? Because if he says nothing, then you're like, all right, cool. Now I'm definitely looking forward to whatever he reveals towards the end of the year or spring, summer of next year to build hype around it. But also, it would be nice for them to just give us a little something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, even if it's most likely a 15-second like voiceover from the actor and like something.
Yeah. I think that'll be really cool. Like like Damon saying, it doesn't have to be a full on trailer, but just a little vignette. I think will be cool. Just a little something. Yeah.
But I'm just excited now. Like we're in the second half of 2024. The only thing we have left between us and Superman is Joker 2, which that's a conversation for another day. So we're talking about a Creature Commandos. We are just about to get into this new era for potentially, maybe if things go well, the next 10 to 15 years of DC content.
Man.
You gotta remember,
wait to be 45 lining up to go to a DC
true.
movie.
Because you gotta remember too, if these movies do good, it's gonna affect everything else. The comics, the video games, like it's gonna affect a lot of different things. These characters that get focused in these movies. So we'll see. But yeah, that's Superman. The rest of our points are actually, I just realized this, mainly DC. Again, Marvel doesn't have a lot going on because they're probably, since they are going to Comic-Con, they don't have a lot of stuff to announce until then. The next couple points are 2 animated series. So we got an announcement for my boy, Blue Beetle animated series is coming.
Let me just say, before you get into it, if you guys have not watched the Blue Beetle movie, please go back and watch it on whatever your favorite streaming service is or buy it on DVD or whatever. It is such a good movie. Truly, truly, truly a fantastic movie. Especially if you're a Hispanic fan, you know what I mean, of comics. I think you would really enjoy it and connect to it in a way that someone like me probably would not be able to. You know what I mean? But it's just a good blockbuster film. The characters are great. The action is like awesome. The story is fantastic. Like I wish I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, damn, I need to rewatch this movie because I just remember enjoying it so much. I watched it in theaters with my brother and my mom, and we all loved it. And my mom is not like a big blockbuster movie fan in general, so I was just like, damn, like I wish more people like brought up the fact that this shit is awesome.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, highly recommend.
Its biggest downfall was that it came out during the strike, and so there was no like marketing. There was nothing.
Yeah.
So that was but yeah, Jelani was right. It was a great movie. I took myself to the movies to go watch it. It was a good time. But yeah, I got an animated series announced, and the actor like posted about it, so it seems he's going to be voicing it, which kind of goes into
that's about to be my next question.
Yeah, James Gunn's kind of idea of these actors are going to voice them and play them in live action. Again, kind of curious how this is going to work out in terms of like what takes place here, or whatever. Like I'm the kind of person I don't really I'm not too worried about like, oh, does this take place in canon with this? Like if it's good, it's good. Yeah. But I'm speaking more for the general audience because of the fact that if the general audience is confused, they're not going to go watch it, they're not going to go see it, and then these projects don't get supported, and then we just go back to more Batman movies. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of my thought process.
Love my boy Batman. He has more than enough comic books, movies, video games, podcasts, toys. He's got it all.
Animated show again, Cape Crusader.
You know what I mean? Which I'm super excited about.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, our boys everywhere. Our boys everywhere. I think other characters deserve some shine. There's so many interesting characters outside of the big three. I mean, but yeah. And
the other animated show, and I'll tell you guys how I feel after Jelani tells you how he feels. Kite Man got its trailer.
Hell yeah.
Jelani, thoughts?
I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't watch the trailer because I just want to watch the show, but I did love the character a lot in Harley Quinn, and I'm excited that he's getting his own show. So absolutely looking forward to it. I'm excited. I'm ready for it.
So I'm excited for it because it's a DC project. I'm always gonna like anything DC. However, and there's a lot of people that think this way. It just sucks when there's a certain character, speaking of big three, who has been around for 80 almost 5 years, and she has never had an animated series.
That is true, and that's also crazy.
It sucks.
Did not realize that. Holy smokes!
Like
I think that's also because I'm a big like Justice League and Justice League Unlimited fan. I was like, oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, she was there. Yeah, but
she hasn't. Yeah, she hasn't had her own solo.
This is a perfect time. Like we were just talking about My Adventures with Superman. That's such a great show. The Cape Crusader show is going to be coming out. Batman's had multiple animated series. And this is a whole discussion for a whole another day. So the general audience, Wonder Woman is a lot of the times overlooked as like an iconic character, excuse me, because unfortunately, more people watch movies and TV as opposed to reading the books. So outside of the comics, a lot of people don't know how just amazing and great she is. And things like an animated show, like what's happening with Superman right now, things like more good movies will kind of showcase how great she is. I think the animated show will be perfect for her because she has such a large amount of just like history and lore and characters and side characters. Like it's one of those things where it's not Kite Man the show that their fault. It's whoever is making the decisions to make that kind of show. I just want a Wonder Woman show. For this Kite Man show, I'm sure I'll check it out. Like I'm not gonna be like staying up middle of the night like to watch it, but I'll check it out. You know, like it's
for sure
kind of vibe. But so yeah, that's 2 animated series for DC coming out. Marvel, I don't think they really have anything coming out. Like What If's not coming out for a while, right? And then X-Men just finished.
Yeah.
So not much
more.
More
just chilling.
Yeah.
But
again, maybe I know they were working on that Spider-Man show that was supposed to come out, but who knows? But maybe at Comic-Con we'll hear more.
I mean, honestly, I'll let them cook. They've done enough.
Yeah, they've done a lot.
Flooding the streets for the past 20 years at this point, 10, 15 years. So they can take a little chill pill and kind of reevaluate what they want to do. I like this idea of them not releasing so many projects within a year. Give it some room to breathe. Give us something like an animated series to shine. You know, because could you imagine this is coming out and then they're gonna try to make like an Avengers level movie come out at some point? It's like it's just a lot. It's a lot, and I feel like people would care more about the movies than the TV show, even though the TV show would probably cook more than the movie, especially at this point. You know, so like I'm glad that they're giving space for certain projects to shine. So yeah. So I don't mind them taking a chill pill until Comic-Con, New York and San Diego.
I'm very curious what their plan's going to be announced at Comic-Con, like what the next couple of years are going to be, because there was all the uncertainty with the Kang movie and Fantastic Four and the next like Black Panther, like just other stuff going on.
Yeah.
You know? So
Yeah.
we'll see how that goes. But talking about regular TV shows, not animated, live action, Lanterns had a little bit of news. Again, we already knew Lanterns was coming. I think they had announced their writers recently. But most recently, they announced that it's going to be 8 episodes, which I feel like we kind of felt like, but it's better to get news than no news for anything DC. Specifically, when we're talking about Wonder Woman, again, no news for this game or this Wonder Woman show that's supposed to come out. But anyway, Lanterns, it just got kind of a little bit more news. Again, nothing specific to talk about. Just hey, 8 episodes. Here's some more writers, information about the writers and stuff like that. But I'm excited. It's
same. I love the Lanterns, especially Jon Stewart.
Yeah,
I'm here for it.
Please give me Jessica Cruz in that show, but we'll see.
Oh, absolutely.
And then our last main point that we had for today, again, wasn't going to be too long today. It wasn't too much news happening the last couple weeks as we lead into Comic-Con. There was a new Black Label book that was announced. So we were just talking about Zatanna, Bring Down the House. This is a Black Label book, which is essentially DC's quote-unquote mature line, but not like mature like sex, and just a little bit more adult in a sense. Yeah. But Plastic Man got a DC Black Label book announced. Plastic Man is always a fun character. Like he's
awesome. Yeah. He's awesome. Yeah. He's like one of those people that's kind of like maybe this is a bad comparison, but kind of like Booster Gold, where he's important, but he doesn't show up too often. But when he does, he's cool and beloved, especially by comic book readers. Super duper powerful, very fun. I don't think I've ever really seen a lot of mature iterations of his character, so I would love to see that more often. I mean, I think you would know this better, but what was the comic where he was calling out Superman for being like acting like a god type shit? He was like going up against.
That's the Injustice comic.
Okay, perfect, right? For me at least, that's like the last time I kind of saw him in a semi-serious story, you know. So I'm very curious to see him in a Black Label comic, and I think that'd be really, really cool.
And I think for a character like him, like for anyone unfamiliar, he was, long story short, he was a criminal in the past and kind of got these powers, and now he's a superhero and everything like that. I think like that, exploring that will be on a Black Label line will be cool. But I pulled up the post in here. It says DC Comics announces Plastic Man No More, a 4-issue limited comic by writer Christopher Cantwell and artist Alex Linz and Jacob Edgar. Series will be released through DC's Black Label this September, exploring the end of Plastic Man's life as his powers and body begin to unravel. So that'll be pretty spooky.
Pretty cool.
But yeah, that's the overall main. There was a couple of small announcements here and there, like we briefly mentioned, like the Batman animated show got a trailer. Like I said, nothing crazy, but we wanted to at least do our monthly check-in with everyone and kind of keep everyone updated on all of that. But yeah, like we said, 2 streams this month. Right now, tentatively, Saturday, July 20th, we will be doing a stream on the Andromeda Arcade Twitch channel. Me, Jelani, and E. Again, tentatively, time, date, and people may change. We'll see. But we'll be playing the Marvel Rivals beta. I'm about to bust out my Magneto. And then the following weekend, again, tentatively, definitely the 27th, but tentatively, all 3 of us, 2 of us, we'll kind of see how it goes. We'll be streaming Marvel's Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con Hall H panel, which is where they do all their big announcements and all that fun shit.
Absolutely.
That'll be kind of the vibe. But that's all the news we have this month. Please go buy
CCS
Zatanna.
Summer. Let's go.
It's CCS Summer. Please go buy Zatanna everywhere. Please buy multiple copies. I had to stop myself from buying every variant in that store that I went to.
Do it. Run to your local comic book shop and do it. You will not regret it. I promise you.
Yeah, it's just so good. But make sure you guys follow Jelani and E on Twitter. If you are interested in World Wrestling Entertainment.
Yeah, all right, you got it.
Jelani and E recently made some new wrestling focused Twitters. I'll put the link in the description.
Yes, we did.
Make sure you guys go check
JF Rollins.
Yeah, make sure you guys go check that out. Make sure you check out our Cool Comic Show Twitter, where we'll be announcing like the specific dates for the Rivals beta and for the Comic-Con panels. But yeah, also for that Comic-Con stream, that will essentially be a live recording for our next episode of this show. So what we'll probably do is like 30 minutes or an hour before, we'll just jump on stream, whoever is there, and then talk about like what we're expecting. Kind of just have like a live, it's going to sound redundant, live recording of our episode, and then that'll be uploaded the following weekend for that. So yeah,
exciting stuff.
I think that's pretty much everything. Again, thank you guys for supporting. Thank you for hanging out. We appreciate you guys. Please go buy Zatanna. Wonder Woman video game when. I miss you. Please come back to us.
Absolutely.
Jelani, anything else?
That's it. I'm hyped.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in a couple weeks for Marvel Rivals and for Marvel's Comic-Con panel. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.